So, hi Irina, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm very good to see you. How are you?
Good. We've known each other a while now, and you've been involved in what I would call sort of a keto diet of sorts, is that,
Yes.
and kind of got me interested in that. And I guess one of the things I was wondering is what got you started in, whether you want to call it wellness or keto, or how would you even describe kind of how would you describe your diet philosophy?
Okay. So first of all, I don't like word diet.
Right.
Diet actually is anything what anyone eats. It's diet. It's what you eat basically. But I don't want to call it that I'm on a diet. I'm actually not on a diet. I'm just eating what is appropriate for my body. It's what I think. It's my diet philosophy. You have to eat for nutrition, to give your body nutrients, and not just for pleasure or just for the sake of eating. So how did I start it? I was interested in it for a long time ago. I have a degree in nutrition and sports, so I was interested in health long time ago. But I actually even was trying to apply some knowledge which I learned in university, but now I can tell that a lot of that knowledge was not right. So how did I start it again? I kind of didn't do anything in this area, in the sports and nutrition. I was eating what we called balanced diet. I was believing that balanced diet is what you should eat, it's what's right. And for many years, I thought I'm doing the right thing. One day I was on the plane there was a man sitting next to me. He was like in older years and he was in excellent shape. We started chatting and I just asked him how he stayed in such shape. And he said, I don't eat carbs. I was so blown away. I was like, at all? At all. I'm like, okay. It was something very new for me. So when I got home, I started digging out. I started dig out information, what I can find. And what I found, that there's so much information on the internet. And I actually started to, there are people saying it's right, there are people saying it's wrong, and so much controversial stuff there that you don't know actually, is it true or not true? So I dig deeper and deeper and decided to try it. And after I tried it, I can tell I will never go back. That's how I started.
So how long ago was this, that flight with that guy?
Oh, it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. So you've been doing this basically since then, for the last 3 years?
Yes. Since that I started, that's another example. You never know when you speak to someone, you never know how your words can influence another person. That was right? My example. Yeah.
Right, yeah. That guy's going around having no idea the impact he's had.
Absolutely. Yes.
And other people that you've been able to work with. You had said a balanced diet is kind of what you were eating. So what would you describe? And then you were also saying how a lot of what you learned was wrong in school. So first of all, how would you describe a balanced diet, or what do you think is being taught now that is wrong about a balanced diet?
Okay, so first of all, what I was eating was balanced diet, and I was a believer it's right. So you have to have protein, fats, and carbs in each meal. That's what they call balanced diet, and that's what I was learning in my university years, and I thought it's true, and I thought that's right, that's what you need to eat. So my normal meal will consist from all three macronutrients: carbs, protein, and fat. And it was like necessary that I have all three macronutrients in my meal. This was like important for me, and I thought I'm doing the right thing. Apparently not. So that was my balanced diet. Of course, all the desserts, cakes, French fries, it's not a healthy meal, and it's not balanced diet. It's just indulgence. It's what you allow yourself sometimes. But besides that, I tried to eat balanced diet. I thought I'm doing good thing and that I'm healthy. That's what I was thinking at that time.
So related to that, so you were saying this guy doesn't eat carbs, and a balanced diet includes carbs and protein and fat. So what makes carbs so bad?
So no, carbs themselves are not really bad. I just started to dig deeper. I started to learn about this and why it's not important to eat carbs, and actually why it's beneficial not to eat carbs. So what I found, first of all, carbs are not essential nutrients. What it means that our body doesn't need it. We don't need it to survive. We don't need it to live. Our body does not need it. We don't need to eat carbs, any gram of it at all. It's not essential nutrient. Versus protein and fat, which are essential nutrients, and we need it for living. And that's made me open my eyes and okay, and it's true. And why would you need to eat something what your body doesn't need? It's kind of, it's not working right. So That's where I started. And carbs themselves are not necessarily bad, but in our world and in our balanced diet, we overconsume it. And we overconsume it on a great scale, and that's a problem. That's a big problem, and that's why our society is basically sick, because most people, statistics says 88% of Americans have at least one metabolic disease. So metabolic condition. It's not that carb is a problem, it's that we overconsume it. But on the other hand, we don't need it. So we eat it because we want it, not because we need it. That's a problem. And that's how, when I found out, I need to try it. I need to exclude carbs and see how I will feel. It was pretty hard, but I started to go into that. But later, maybe it's not related to this topic now, but later I started to dig down deeper and deeper. And what I learned, one of the worst things you can do for yourself, for your body, is eat carbs with fats together. And that's a really bad thing. And that's what most people do. And that's what I was doing, eating my balanced diet. That's a very bad thing to do, to eat carbs with fats. These two macronutrients, they shouldn't be eaten together. There's all biochemical explanation to that. There's certain cycles, pathways involved with that, and it's more deep into biochemistry, but that's really not healthy thing to do for your body, for yourself.
Right. Well, and that's something, so I've read eating fats and protein are more appropriate, or at least that's how you find protein is always the fat, is that?
Yes. Fat and protein, that's how we're supposed to eat, because in nature, actually, protein always goes with fat. You can't find meat without fat in it. It always will be fat. If we eat meat, which is most nutritious food, it has fat in it. And it's it's the healthiest version of fat because it's saturated fat, and meat always goes with fat in nature. And even eggs, it's protein and fat, and so it has everything that everything needed to build new chicken. Right. And it's also fat and protein. In nature, if you take any food which is in nature, animal-based, it will always be fat and protein.
Right. Yeah, I've read eggs are basically like a perfect 50-50 split of fat and protein.
Yes, eggs, it's perfect food because it has fat and protein and tons of micronutrients, tons of minerals, vitamins. This is literally a vitamin. It has in very good proportion everything you need. So it's really good food. I love eggs. Yeah, those people who are saying, oh, eggs, don't eat eggs, they're bad, there's cholesterol and stuff. It's just eggs is one of the most nutritious food, and it's delicious too.
Yeah. I went from going to no eggs to almost, at one point I was probably eating like 6 eggs a day, but.
Oh, excellent. That's what I eat about that. Yeah. I love eggs with everything.
Do you know, so not without going too deep into the biochemistry, but I'm just curious about the fat and carbs. Can you explain why that's bad? Like what, because I haven't heard that before. So I'm just curious what,
fat and carbs?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So fat and carbs, they're two macronutrients. Actually, I wouldn't call carbs even a macronutrient because it's not. because it's not micronutrient is what your body needs a large amount, and your body doesn't need carbs.
Right.
So eating fat and carbs together involves such a process called Randall cycle. It starts Randall cycle in your body, and whenever this cycle starts, it causes lots of inflammation. The main, I will try to say it more simply, the main point of this cycle is that whenever you eat carbs, all the pathways to oxidize fat are blocked, and vice versa. When you eat fats, all the pathways to oxidize carbs are blocked. So they block each other. And whenever you eat them together, you block them both, and it can't work. Your body can't work properly. Your liver can work properly, and it can't metabolize neither of them. Not carbs, not fat. That's how you get fatter and sicker, because this process, when Randall cycle initiated, it creates lots of inflammation in your body. And inflammation is the basis of pretty much most common chronic disease and really bad thing. It's what we want to avoid to stay healthy.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, and you were talking about metabolic disease a minute ago too. So can you are there examples of metabolic disease or things that people need to look out for in terms of what are some signs of metabolic dysfunction or metabolic disease?
What is this? Say that again. What is
Well, yeah. So just what are things that people might be on the lookout for to indicate that they're having a problem metabolically? What are some, they're like, whether it's weight gain, whether it's high blood pressure, something like that?
Yeah, so first marker will be high blood pressure, because it's easy to measure and anyone can measure it and know. And if the person has high blood pressure, it's already a marker. Of course, you can have high blood glucose, but it's not necessary. In many cases, you can have normal blood glucose still. But if you have high blood pressure, it's already a sign. It's very good to have your blood test done and know your insulin, because insulin will show where you are at exactly. And insulin is very good marker. Even if your blood glucose is still normal, your insulin might be sky high, and it means you're already insulin resistant, because your body works extra and extra to start to produce more and more insulin, because your cells do not accept that insulin. They're resistant. So you already have insulin resistance, but your blood glucose is fine, is normal. And many doctors, which is very sad, I think, they look at blood glucose, oh, it's fine, you're fine, no problems. And they never look at insulin resistance. Actually, when I go to a doctor, I ask them to add insulin to my test, because they don't do it on their own. No, why? Oh, why do you want it? Strange. This is first thing you should be tested for. You need to know your insulin numbers. So what else? So also, it's really good idea, I think, to have just general blood test done, because it shows you enzymes of the liver, ALT and AST, and these enzymes exactly show how your liver function, and they show if you have fatty liver. And they say by statistics, pretty much every second person in US has fatty liver. They just don't know about it. And whenever you see the person with big belly, it pretty much visceral obesity. It's what means fat around your organs, around your liver, around your pancreas, and it pretty much indicates fatty liver disease. So it's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because it's not caused by alcohol, but it's caused by sugar. And amazingly, one type of sugar, fructose, is working in our bodies, processed in our bodies the same way as alcohol. And like Ben Bickman said in his book, Why We Get Sick, fructose is the same alcohol, just without hangover. So that's why they call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because it's not caused by alcohol, but you still can have fatty liver. People just don't realize it. That's why it's really good to have at least once a year blood test, which shows all these basic numbers, so you can have understanding where you are at and how healthy you are.
Right. So fructose, and we don't find fructose in anything these days, do we?
All right. Yes. Right now. No. In anything.
So,
Yes.
so to avoid fructose and these things, like what do you recommend people do? Are there things?
So first of all, fructose is the main ingredient in processed food, and people don't realize that. First of all, it's synthetic. Processed food is synthetic stuff, basically made in a plant, but most of processed food contain fructose. It contains sugar, but sugar is 50-50, 50% glucose, 50% fructose. And especially what manufacturers like to do, they like to add high fructose corn syrup. And this is very cheap ingredient, and it's in it's like, oh my goodness, it's in every food which is processed. Even on the plane, if you take those cookies, it's high fructose corn syrup. It's in colas. It's besides aspartame, which is also bad, but it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere, and we eat excess of it. And another point is fructose is naturally occurred in fruits, and many people think we will not eat sugar. We will eat natural sugar. Let's say agave syrup or honey or something else. This is full of fructose. So the proportion of fructose in this natural sugar is higher, and it's actually worse. So thinking that using natural sugar versus not natural sugar is better, it's not. It might be even worse.
So honey and agave and stuff like that, but do you have an opinion on like whole foods like apples or oranges?
Apples and fruits, the problem with that is the same what I think about carbohydrates. It's not the problem, it's not the apples or fruits, the problem. The problem is, first of all, we overconsume them. Second of all, they are genetically modified. They're modified not even genetically, they're grown with added sugar to be more sweet than normally. If you compare apple from the store and apple from your tree, in the backyard, there will be two different apples. Those huge apples in the store all year round, it's not what we're supposed to eat. If you have apple tree on the backyard and you eat it only when it's growing, it's usually before winter. It's how we mean to eat fruits before winter to survive winter. But now it's not the point because we have food and fruits and apples 24/7 every day of the year. And people think, let's eat apples, they're good for you. No, they're not good for you if you eat them like that. It's okay to eat them in the season, sparingly sometimes, but if you eat them every day, 365 days a year, then it's not good for you. Absolutely not good.
Right. So in terms of, you were talking about insulin, getting insulin checked, and I just went to my doc the other day and had my insulin checked. I didn't get the pushback that I expected. I was all geared up for kind of, I had some evidence with me and why I wanted it. And I was ready for this sort of like fight. But so for people who are trying to get their insulin checked, is there anything that you recommend they do in sort of preparation for that, or in terms of talking to the doctor about it? If the doctor does push back and say, oh, you don't need that or anything like that, or why is that even important to you?
Yes, I heard many people saying that their doctor doesn't want to do that, doesn't want to prescribe them the test. In US, it's easier. In US, you actually can get your blood test without any doctor. There's labs which you just go pay and get your test. But if you go to doctor and your doctor is really not wanting to do that and asking why, you just explain to your doctor that you need it to know if you have insulin resistance or not. And if your doctor tells you that your blood glucose is normal, and you don't need insulin, then you need to change a doctor.
Right.
That's pretty basic knowledge which each doctor should know. And if your doctor doesn't know that, you change the doctor.
Well, right. I think the worst thing for diabetes was, and this is not something original for me, but the worst thing for diabetes was the discovery of insulin, because then it became a disease of blood sugar versus a disease of high insulin levels. Did you agree with that?
Insulin, what is the question?
No, I'm just wondering if you think that that's an accurate statement, or would you phrase it differently?
So insulin is not necessarily the bad guy. Insulin is absolutely necessary in our body for our life. We need it. And the main role of insulin is not to control blood sugar. Main role of insulin is control glucagon and control gluconeogenesis. It's the process in which our body produces glucose. So that's the main role of insulin. But because we overconsume glucose through the mouth, insulin need to go and fix that. And our insulin need to work 24/7 to fix that, because first of all, we eat tons of carbohydrates. It means tons of glucose, because all carbohydrates turn on into glucose in our body. As soon as you eat it, it turns on to glucose and then metabolized. So because we eat it constantly, a lot, and we eat how many times a day normal person eats. Some people eat 6 times a day. It's non-stop. So you basically eat it non-stop. Your pancreas should work very hard to pump that insulin, because what insulin does, basically, insulin binds to your cell receptors and open cells, let the cell go open to accept that glucose. And when cell accepting enough glucose, it gets closed and it says, no, I don't need anymore. But insulin is coming and cell is closed, like, nope, I don't need anymore. And to open it, it needs more insulin. So that's what's happening. That's the process. And the more insulin pancreas produce, and cell become more and more insulin resistant. That's contraindicated part. I don't know the right word for that, but I think it's a very not right way how we treat diabetes. So we pump more insulin and more insulin. Instead of lowering your blood sugar, we just pump more insulin. And this is very wrong way to look at diabetes. And it's very sad many doctors still do it, because it's already known that diabetes type 2 is reversible disease, and it's amazing that it's reversible in a very short period of time. And right. Insulin resistance too. So the more people know it, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, I've read somewhere where giving insulin is like, to a type 2 diabetic, is like giving, just adding gasoline to a fire, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You add more and more, and what does it do? It pumps more insulin into your blood, into your cells, and in many cells. Why cells don't accept glucose? Because excess of glucose in a cell is very toxic, and it will glycate proteins, very important proteins, which are needed for normal work of the cell. And cell says, no, I don't need anymore. Stop it, because this extra glucose will glycate proteins in a cell, and it will lead to cell death. That's it. And cells definitely don't want it. They do everything to survive and help us to survive.
Right. So what would you describe as your, what's your mission? What's your mission with, you've started a website, you're trying to get the word out and help people here. So yes. What's driving you to do that? Why not just keep this information for yourself and, be like, I'm helping me, but I don't really need to help anybody else. Why do you want to help?
When I started to eat this way, I started to learn more and more, but the changes I experienced were amazing. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. And I thought I'm pretty healthy. I thought I'm a healthy person. I didn't even consider myself sick. And the changes were amazing. So much energy as I have now. And I had a lot of changes, and it really blew my mind. And my mission is, I want to tell people that being healthy is a choice. You can't be healthy. It's not your genetics. Most people are saying, it's genetics. Like I have that, and they name those chronic disease. Oh, it's genetics. My mom had it. If your mom had it, doesn't mean you should have it. It's your lifestyle. And it's amazing. It's so amazing how much we can change our health, improve our health just by changing lifestyle and eating habits. It's like, for me, it's just fascinating. And I really want to tell about it to many people, because what I see around, people are mostly sick and you can help them. And they actually complaining, oh, I don't have energy. Oh my God, what should I do? Should I take vitamins? No, change your eating habits, change your lifestyle. You will be surprised how much energy you can have. And once you have this energy, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know it's possible. It was my actually response, like, wow, why I have so much energy now? I'm constantly like, need to go do something. I can't just see it. And before, after dinner, I could just sit and watch TV. I couldn't do anything after dinner. It was like dinner and day ends there. Now it's still 6 hours after dinner. I can work, I can do a lot of stuff. And it's amazing how much energy you can have. It's amazing how you can improve your chronic disease. People improve so many diseases which they think they're genetic because their parents had it. It's blowing my mind. And then more I learn about it, then more I'm convinced that this is the right way to eat, and not just eat, it's eating and lifestyle. And I really want to tell it to more people and help them to get healthy and show them that it's possible. They don't believe it, but I'm trying.
So where would people find you? What's the best way for people to find you?
So I have a website. It's www.irenagross.com, and I have Instagram. And I have Facebook group, actually, Strong and Lean 40, and people can go join there. I share some tips. I was banned on Facebook for some time, so I didn't do anything there, but now I'm back and I'm gonna be more active there and post tips and help answering questions if people have questions. So I'm really will be happy if people will join and ask questions so I can help them to get healthier.
I saw your Facebook page recently. I think it was this past week. I saw it up there, so I know it's up there. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was nice to talk to you. I'm really glad to see you and talk to you and chat about all that stuff. I'm really, really obsessed with that. Let's say it that way.
Hopefully, we'll talk again.
Okay.